What's going on, party people? I am Faya Angelou, one of the hosts of the Facts and Feelings Happy Hour podcast. Have you ever realized we got a long ass name for the title of our podcast? It's very long.
Yeah,
Okay. Who do I have with me? Who do I have the pleasure of having this weekly
this changed it.
conversation with?
Big Meech, not the little one,
Mm-hmm.
here every week for your viewing pleasures.
I like it. I'm happy to have you here.
I'm happy to have you.
How's your week? How's your week last week? What's been new with you? What's going on?
What did I do? I just came from celebrating a family reunion in Orlando, and that was about
Okay.
as amazing as it ever could be, being with your entire family for extended period of time.
Is this maternal or paternal family reunion?
Paternal,
Okay. Orlando. Man, I haven't been to Orlando
daddy
since I
side.
moved away from over there.
Mhm.
How do y'all structure y'all's reunion? How y'all who plans it? How do y'all go about doing it?
That was also a thing at the end because I got thrown in the hat to do the next one. So
Uh-huh.
anyway, we vote at the end of each family reunion who will have the next one
Yeah.
or who will host the next one, and we host them biannually.
Mm-hmm.
And so this one actually it was a 5 year drought because of COVID. So the
Oh,
last one
okay.
that we tried to have got COVID ruined everything, so we just skipped, and then now this was like year 5. So yeah.
Gotcha.
And then
Gotcha.
at the end of
Gotcha.
it, each one, like the last day or at the dinner, at the whatever the picnic function, whatever we have, we put the vote in of who wants to have the next one. They had kind of thrown it at my grandma
Mm-hmm.
randomly was like, well, I would like to have the next one in Charlotte. And I kind of looked because she don't live in Charlotte. She also lives in Florida. And my
Okay.
grandbaby to just step on up. And I was like, girl, fuck you. No. Um, but obviously I was like, fine, grandma, if you like want me to. But then somebody else luckily was like, well, no, I kind of been waiting and I would love that you have at it. That person.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's how
Well,
it
that's
goes.
what's up. My family reunion this year is in Cleveland.
Wow.
Um, we rotate between 5 cities every year. We have elected
Okay.
officers.
That
There's a
sounds about right. It sounds just like your shit would be.
there's elected officers, and there are different chapters in each state. And so, I
I have
just
family reunion chapters,
yeah, like we're like humble brag.
committees.
No chapters, because we have I wrote the standard operating procedures. We have bylaws. There are dues that are involved, and there like again 5 or 6 chapters. And me and my brother just rejoined the Atlanta chapter uh, after taking a break after my mom passed, because my mom was like the chapter secretary for the longest and financial secretary for the longest, and it just didn't
Wow.
feel the same without her. And so this year the reunion is going to Cleveland. I won't be there. But next year is Atlanta's turn to host, and we're doing something a little different and taking the family reunion on a cruise.
Oh, we
That
thought about that too. I was like, if it
yeah.
comes to Charlotte, that's what it's gonna be. It's gonna be hot surprise. We're doing this now.
Yeah.
Charlotte, go
But
back
I don't
to
think
Florida.
I don't think my family's gonna be too happy about it. Because again, like we are featured in like this Black History Museum here in Atlanta for how like we're at 116 years of doing family reunions now.
Wow. Well,
Uh,
you can go the
but
distance with a structure like that.
listen. But anyway, that's what's up. That's what's up. I had a good week myself. You didn't ask, but I had a pretty good week. I quit my job.
I was
Um,
stuck on the family reunion thing, but that's amazing.
oh, you
Also,
want to talk more about the family reunion?
I just want to know one thing. Is there like a president of each
Yes. So
committee
there's a president.
chapter?
Yeah,
Sorry.
there's a president, just like Robert's Rules of Order. So president,
Yeah.
secretary, whatever, and then at the family reunions on the Saturday before the gala, it's structured. So there
Y'all
Saturdays
have a
there's a gala.
gala. My
Yeah,
dog.
and Saturday before the gala is where we have the president's meeting, and all the presidents get together and talk about things going on in the different chapters and things like that. And then of course we everybody knows at that point where the next city should be coming up. Atlanta's always after Cleveland. And so it's like, all right, so Atlanta, what y'all got going on? And then we kind of tease what
We
might be
do a
happening.
court. Wow.
Yeah.
So I can feel that. I can just like I feel like your shoulders are even squaring off to hold the chip. So I'm gonna feed into that shit and let you know just how sweet y'all shit is. What we do is each one, and they haven't kind of cemented this as standard, but it pretty much is, whether they say it or not, because we do it every time. We have it. We block off some rooms at the Embassy Suites.
Yeah.
Use the Embassy Suites happy hour as a part of the damn function. So every family reunion, whatever day we get in from 5 to 7, we make going to that bar and getting them low liquor ass drinks a part of the function. Y'all be going down the happy hour. And that's that. The next day, so it typically starts, like things start on like a Friday, and the Saturday is the dinner or, you know, the picnic or whatever the food. Like this time we weren't outside, we were inside of the venue, but it was catered by my aunt's a caterer, so she catered all the food, which was delicious, but it was pretty much ribs, chicken, you know, cookout food.
Yeah.
And it was in Orlando, and you would think like, oh, so which day did you guys go to Disney? We didn't.
Okay.
We utilized any of the Orlando-ness. So it was just like, it could have definitely been anywhere. Could have been anywhere. I will say that when it does travel, my dad hosted one in Fayetteville, which is a military town. So there's no like structure. You kind of, that person who took it that time makes it like their own by keeping that small structure. Gotcha. My dad decided that everyone would go to the National Military Museum.
Oh, wow. How exciting.
No one did that shit except for the little boys in the family. Oh, well, if don't nobody want to go, that's damn fine. And that felt bad because he is a veteran, and I think that he thought that would be exciting. Dang. And it was all the little boys that was like, we Santa Claus. And we were just like, take them. We're going to be at the end of this week at the happy hour. And that's pretty much how it goes. And so there is no gala. But thank you for the idea.
I will say, don't give me too much, because the way we've been doing it, in a lot of ways, you were the comedian for our family reunion, for our
that
entertainment.
Was very funny.
In our COVID reunion.
Hell no, we're not gonna skate by this shit.
Please.
They had their family reunion, and it was very structured. And they had an agenda. And during COVID, they had a virtual family reunion. Yeah. They were all on the damn line.
Woo.
Having events, playing games, and there was a segment of entertainment, and they hired me as the comedian. And I quite literally did a set for them, and they were cracking up. Some jokes I did have to run back because there were a couple of old people that was like, "What's she saying? What? What's she saying? She saying what? She say if you got family together, it's gonna and then she is, who is this? Is that? Oh, Tiffany has no.
They're like, no, that's our cousin down in Atlanta, Joanne. Yeah, that's Joanne's daughter's friend.
Yeah, she's friend, and she's daughters of Joanne. No, it's her friend, Joanne's friend, her daughter's friend, Joanne's youngest baby. I was just like, you know, and it was something.
The vetting that I had to go through to get you to do it. They was like, we need something to do. I was like, oh, I got a friend that's gonna be. She don't curse now, do she? Nope, I will let her know, no cursing. And we don't want no lewd jokes or nothing like that. Just tell her, keep it clean, good, clean comedy. Because I know somebody from the church, he used to do comedy. And I was like, please no. But anyway,
I kept it clean.
The family reunion is struggling a little bit because, you know, Black people, like, you know, your big mama passed away and then the family starts to shift. And so, and the family reunion hasn't updated itself to be more accessible. So people like Atlanta really be thinking that they're doing a lot, the Atlanta chapter, because there's such high attendance, but people are coming to Atlanta. Like they want to come to Atlanta. They're not coming necessarily for the reunion. And so it's like me and my brother trying to get my cousins to get involved because we're kind of like the youngest people in the chapters. And we're like, come on, y'all. And they're like, I don't know them fucking people. And, you know, and it's like, come on, man, we got to be able to do it. Exactly. So don't give us too much. I'm trying to update things with the family. And they said, you know, like I signed up for the t-shirt committee for Atlanta next year.
It needs one. That's great.
And they were like, okay, so we gonna have everybody mail in their checks for the shirt. And I'm like, we're not having nobody mail in no checks because there is Venmo, Cash App, Apple Pay, Zelle.
Just pay the fee. Pay the fee.
Just pay it. And I'm not writing down no t-shirt sizes on pieces of paper because that's what they made Google Forms for. And if your grandma don't know how to use Google Forms, then that's why the grandbabies need to be involved.
That's fine.
You
I
see what I'm
like
saying?
that.
But
Well, tell
anywho,
me what you're drinking on so you can tell me about your weekend and what went on with your job.
oh yeah, so I don't know. Honestly, I can't call it, but I am drinking out of my Delta tumbler that I got in my Delta box because I am celebrating the induction of a wonderful batch of women into our beloved sorority. But my wife made this, and it's a strawberry peach rum kind of thing, like that.
Okay. Let
Yeah,
me
yeah,
see the
yeah.
front of that tumbler.
Well, it don't have no letters on it, so don't you
Okay,
even worry about it.
I was just gonna whisper in and let you know. It better not have none.
Nope.
Look at my
It
lips.
got a lot of Delta iconography on it.
Look at my
but,
lips. The sauce
ooh, tight lip. Tight lip. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know, up in that cup. All right. Well,
Mm-hmm.
in a not so fancy glass, as I have been drinking on this was a mango margarita.
Okay, because we
It
kind
still
of in
is.
the same neighborhood. You got tequila, but I got rum, so
I
mine's a
do.
daiquiri. It's like a
Yeah,
daiquiri.
it is. And this is a margarita. It is a mango puree margarita. Delicious. Nonetheless,
Mm-hmm.
I would love to give y'all the song, but I don't really do. I think it take a while for some margaritas for me to do anything. One margarita, I'm not opening my legs. I guarantee.
Yeah. That was a little. I just wanted to be bigger. Like it was a little moment on TikTok, then it went over to Instagram. But it's like I want to hear it on the radio. I do
too. It is.
Library.
Boom, boom, boom. It rocks. But anyway, tell us about this. That's a big step. Quit your job.
Yeah.
To do podcasting full time.
I guess so. But yeah, I mean, I've been on leave. I've been on leave for my job since the top of May, and I had to take a step away because it was starting to impact like my mental health, and there were also some constraints at my job that just weren't, nobody was trying to budge on them, and I'm like, hey, I'm not trying to, beat y'all over the head, but this is the work I'm doing, and this is the work y'all are paying me for, and I had decided I was in this time. Taking some time for myself. Like, I just need to rest. It's too much. Not only is the job not budging on things that I need to continue in that job, but also there is a law that was about to be passed that was banning diversity education, diversity, equity, and inclusion at public higher ed institutions in Alabama. And the university was kind of buckling under that pressure. And I'm like, I can't be certain that y'all are going to protect me if things were to fall through. So all of that causing a lot of stress. My therapist and I agreed, take some time away. In that time away, my dad was diagnosed with dementia, and I was like, God damn it, this is not what I took leave for. But I'm grateful that I'm out of work so that I can attend to that because it was escalating pretty quickly. So the leave is supposed to be up August 8th, and I was on the fence, like, okay, should I go back? Should I not go back? But one of the things that my therapist and I talked about is like me taking FMLA leave. Like I still had, like my schedule for my job was packed. I do facilitations, trainings, presentations, lectures on diversity, equity, inclusion. My schedule was planned out through January of 2024. This is in May. And so it's like, there wasn't a break that I could take. So when I stepped away, all that shit had to be canceled or tabled or whatever. So I was like, man, I don't know. But I did it anyway. And it was a big step towards me putting me first and saying, hey man, fuck that job. The money ain't going nowhere. I got to put me first. So if I would have gone back to that job, right, there was no guarantee, and it was highly likely that nothing in my work circumstances was going to change. And it would have felt like a regression for me to go back into an environment like what we had talked about. It's like, it's difficult to know peace and peace of mind and then voluntarily go back into chaos. Yeah. Like I just opened my work email today to send off the letter of resignation. I have 790 emails.
Woo!
On top of the fact that I run an academic program and there are students who need their applications reviewed. There's a course that I'm teaching in the fall, like all of that stuff. Nothing was going to stop. It just would have been a higher mountain.
Nothing had stopped, right? Like I just saw an email where somebody emailed me twice, once on July 5th and once on July 21st and said, hey, Dr. Allen, I'm so sorry to bother you while you're on leave, but can you please email us these slides? And I'm thinking, nobody else at the institution can give y'all some content on microaggressions such that because my out of office reply says I'm on medical leave. So I'm on medical leave.
And my coordinator has told me that she's corresponded with you. So you know I'm on leave, and you still sent at least what I just saw at the top of my inbox was 2 emails from you asking me for content when I'm not the only DEI person on that campus.
Seem like you're the only one working though. And we had a conversation about that too.
Listen, so I made the righteous decision to say, you know what, I'm going to step away. And in this time, I've built my own DEI consulting firm. I now have,
Look at you,
So,
outside.
you know what I mean? And I actually have 2 contracts already kind of in the works. And
Don't try to surprise me with new stuff because you ain't told me that.
You know I can't hear it.
I'm gonna do this up slow. Did you hear that?
It was even worse. That shit crazy. But just clap, just imaginary clap. There we go.
Woo woo. All right. Think of it's pitch. You get your pitches. Woo woo. Yay. Hell yeah. Yay. Whoa whoa. I'm happy as hell. Ah. Y'all, if I take it too high and y'all can't hear me, and I'll be like, what?
I was about to say, y'all don't know. We've been trying to figure out this sound thing, and if we too
That's
high
okay.
or if I make a loud
My dog
clap,
don't quit her job. Now we gonna be in the stew. We gonna be in the stew.
We in
now,
there.
No
So,
restrictions. Get it.
That's been my week. Very happy with that. I ain't gonna lie. I got some anxiety. You know how they have that sleep is for broke people. That's kind of what is plaguing my mind, and I don't believe that. But it's like, my alarm goes off at 6:30, and I'm like, girl, get up at 6. You got shit you need to do.
And if you ain't got nothing, find something. Now, goddamn it, what you ain't gonna do is lay around this motherfucker.
Listen. So, anyway, I'm just happy to be in a committed relationship with a partner that is saying I can hold it down for a while you build and work on this next step. So, I'm just grateful. I'm grateful.
That's a blessing. And space to chase your dreams, man.
That's it.
And I think that's great. Congratulations to you. Shout out to your partner and your wife who can do that. Like I said, we all need space to chase our dreams.
That's it.
And I think that's dope. And good things though. Good things.
Oh yeah.
We got a lot of DEI people that follow us. You got big contracts for wherever you at, wherever you work. You already know.
Or small contracts. I take a speaking engagement. Hey.
I know I speak them things. They said the Bible says speak of them things as though they is.
Manifest.
Just like that. It say just like that. Speak of them things as though they is already ago.
They should make a AAVE Bible.
I got so much scripture.
That's what's up. So
like a lot of scripture. But
you ready to get into the put on?
Let's get into the put on. You go first.
Oh, you want me to go first?
I want you to go first.
All right. So I know you're gonna have something to say about this, but my put on is something that you actually put me on to some time before I acknowledged it as a put on. And it is Killer Mike's new album, Michael. Now, I was apprehensive because I don't know why the fuck Killer Mike turned on Stacey Abrams the way he did at the last minute. But I do think it had a substantial impact on her losing the gubernatorial race here in Georgia, which could have changed the landscape for the country. I don't know why he did it. I don't know why. So I have been taking a stance. At first, I was rocking with Michael. I was like, hey, I like it. Put your money in a black bank. Get a gun. Seems like things that make sense to me. And then he switched on our girl Stacey. And maybe he knows some shit about Stacey that I don't know, but I can't find the receipts. And he started advocating for Kemp.
Yeah, he did. He did. And it's so funny because I didn't even process that, or I didn't know why. But
I mean, there are no real definitive answers. And so I'm like, something must have happened behind the scenes. Unless it really is just that the Republicans gave him a check. And either way, I gave it a go.
I would love I don't want to believe that, but I possibility is definitely a thing.
I ain't gonna hold you. The year was 2018, maybe late 17. And I reached out to people who are very close with Killer Mike. And I wanted him to come to George Mason in Virginia to speak at our Black Male Summit that we were doing, right? We had a grant where we could pay somebody to come and speak. And this is common, right? To book a speaker for a thing. And it would have been an hour conversation, like a fireside chat, and then maybe a meet and greet with the students. My man said, I'll do it for $25,000. Mm-hmm. And I said, what the fuck? Like, $25,000 to like Killer Mike? Okay, cool. So we did not have him come to the institution. And I get that sometimes people will hike up their price when they don't want to come, right? When they have looked up something about the university and
they call it a fuck off price.
Yeah, so I figured that's what that was. And so indeed I did fuck off. And then, you know, when the Stacey stuff happened. So the album came out and my brother he and I were riding around the other day and he played the opening song and I said, "What is this?" He said, "You ain't listened to Michael yet?" I said, "I have not." So then last week I gave it a go. I listened to it and I really do like it.
Yeah.
I do like it. I mean, of course, we know, if you know music, you know he's a lyricist. But like the way that he's telling stories, like it's to the point where, and this has not happened in a while, where I'm rewinding the song, like, but now what the fuck did he just say?
Right.
Because all of the lyrics aren't on Apple Music, right? So you listening, and I'm like, oh shit, oh that's crazy. Then of course he got a song with Andre, and I mean it's just so Atlanta, and it just feels so good. And so yeah.
I want to interject though and say completely off of Killer Mike, or kind of off or on to what you can expect for the. I don't know how many you guys have booked or what George Mason's budget looked like. It's so hard for me to say that. But there are, because I know somebody in the profession that does the same thing, has to book these speakers to come to different engagements, D&I speakers, and they're paid upwards of like 50 white men, 50, 35, 40 for 30 minutes sometimes, or even just a virtual engagement. And so it feels like, you know, Killer Mike, what the hell? But if he knows that, and if he's aware of that, I feel like that pricing is fair, and yours needs to be in similar alignment.
Well, that part I know, right? Like that's what I do, right? Kind of bring these speakers onto these campus. So it's like, I do understand, like I'm not, in comparison to other speakers, I'm not knocking the fee, but it's like normally when that happens, then we try to milk the person, right? So it's not just you're coming in and talking for an hour and then you're doing a meet and greet after. It's like, okay, can you come and do a lecture on the power of hip hop, you know, and that'll be during the day, you know what I mean? But also at the same time, when the pandemic happened, and let's say we wanted to bring like Brene Brown, right, to campus. And before the pandemic, Brene would have been maybe like 60,000. But during the pandemic, and now I'm just making that price up. Right. But during the pandemic, it would make sense to me that while you are sitting at your home, just in terms of ethics and integrity, while you are sitting at your home, researching what to talk about, you would lower your price because you're talking to me on the computer for 1 hour. I can't get that same meet and greet, that same touch base with the students that I would get. The attendance to these events are going to be lower. And then also you're keeping that price. That means you could really do 4 keynote speaking engagements in that same day from your house, and you keeping your fee the same.
Yeah.
That just feels like unethical. Now you can do what you want, get what you deserve. Somebody's going to pay it. But in terms of ethics and why you're really doing this work, it feels like you're fucking people over to do that. But, you know, charge what you charge. I'm going to charge what I'm going to charge. But I do have some conscientiousness around if I'm doing something via Zoom in comparison to I need to pack a luggage, I need to come out, I'm talking to multiple groups, you know, like, yeah, that's a different thing to me. But, you know, what
and I hear that. I hear that. We're stuck in a less ethics, more go get that bag by any means necessary kind of era. And it is, it's fucking with the ethics of things. And I get that. I feel that.
Yeah. So what about you? What's your put on? What you got put on too?
My put on, it's just been happening. We've been seeing it more. I wanted to talk about 2 things. The writer's strike. I know y'all been seeing that go on. For those of you that don't know why they're striking or what's happening, Hollywood is pretty much in shambles. And what's happening is that the machines that are Disney, you know, the Paramounts and shit, at this point, I'm not even certain Paramount isn't owned by Disney. So forgive me, you know, if I'm missing the conglomerates. But those big machines that run and operate Hollywood are pretty much making billions off the backs of writers who are living below the poverty line. For an example, and we'll play a clip here. There's a gentleman, I don't know if you guys watched on Hulu. It's a great show, written amazingly. He wrote on a show called The Bear. I know the show made millions of dollars. It's been like #1 featured on Hulu for a while. And he's impoverished. Like he's like, I make pennies on that. Same thing with pretty much the people that you know run and make the machine operate. So not the big name actors, to which the point should be getting paid more too. Like the Denzels and the Violas, you know, they do okay, but they're not getting paid nearly what they're worth. But yeah, the writers, the makeup artists, or the people on set, you know, the movies, or the behind the scenes, the stage managers, and all kinds of just the production machine pretty much are struggling. Like they're struggling to make ends meet. And this will actually run into my people just be saying shit a little bit. I have another one for people just be saying shit, but this applies to the people just be saying shit. I see a lot on social media. You'll see these people in Hollywood or people that you feel like have just gotten their big break, you know, hold up these stacks of checks, right? From like SAG-AFTRA. You know what I mean? And it'd be like, you know, 16 residuals coming in like water and blah, 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 blah. But now in the writer's strike, shit is being exposed. These checks are 1 cent, 50 cents. I've seen one literally, Brandy, that was her check. 1 cent she made.
That's
and a
crazy.
residual check from Chuckalisa now. What's the name of the show?
The Pink. No, that ain't what it's
Pink.
called.
And the Pink. It's not called Pink, but yeah, down in the valley where the girls getting active. P Valley.
Yeah, P Valley. There we go.
1 cent residual. And that baby performs in that show. 1 cent.
How does
Do you
that
know
happen?
How much
How does
shit
that
I would
happen?
flip over sending me a 1 cent? I'm sure it's automated, but send a 1 cent check to my fucking door and see how I act up.
I just don't understand like the math. Like I know it's like residual stuff, but like what is happening in the contract? Where is all the money going?
To them. So pretty much that hierarchy of and I think that that's a big part of it. I think that what's happening is it's being exposed inside of their contracts, that their contracts are pretty much written more so welcome to Hollywood, be happy that you're here, as opposed to this is your job, we'll pay you what you're worth. So they're pretty much placing the value on the idea, you know what I mean, like of Hollywood, and not with these people out there. And they're making billions and billions, you know, like we see all that, all the big numbers of, and we talked about this before. I think that was like our very first episode where we talk about how much do you think Chadwick was paid for Black Panther and all that stuff. We know how much money that movie grossed. And as it trickles down, like people had to write for that movie. There was costume design for that movie. There was makeup for that movie. And the people not making the money. The stuff that we love so much, we just like, ooh, that's sick and blah, 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 blah. They're not making it. It's going straight to Disney, going straight to Marvel. You know what I mean? Like those studios.
That's crazy.
And it's crazy. More on that, spin of that, they're running out of money. The world in itself is running out of money. We've seen it top down happen from banks to, the currency is about to be worth less, all this stuff. Seen a video where a man that worked at Yellow Trucking, a very large trucking company, he's been working there for 30 years. And he has just been denied his pension because the company don't have it. He has been denied. And I'm pretty sure that the way that kind of work and just the way that he looked as a man, I'm pretty sure he's a keep your head down and go to work kind of man. And, you know, this is how I'm going to feed my family. He, after 30 years, it's time for this man to retire. He don't have a pension.
No, it ain't you. It's these motherfuckers right here. It's the motherfuckers on the top. But now we gotta do this shit again. We gotta do this shit again. And nobody tell me, and nobody here tell me why I get emotional. Why you talk like this? That's fucking bad.
And they're like, we apologize for this. And, you know, we're definitely looking at some other avenue, all the bullshit. But the little people at the bottom, the people that do the hardest work, get fucked over, for less of a better terms. And it just really sucks. And I guarantee you that the CEOs of those companies have gotten raises each year.
Right, because I was going to say, like, I know this is not your big facts part. This is the put on. So I don't want to ask too many follow-up questions. But, like, where did the money go? Like, so at some point, your pension gets paid into another financial group. Exactly. Did that financial group, you know, put their money into some type of trust, some type of investment that went bad?
Yep. Bad business investments on the top affecting the people on the bottom that had nothing to do with that shit. No decision on it. no,
That's crazy.
say on whether, hey, we want to do this. But yeah, bad business deals at the top of the chain. And it's how it goes. You invest these, or you try to, flip the money, investing in bad business deals, bad investments. And it trickles down to the point where it's just like, hey, we have to send out a notice that everybody that's been working here 30 years, 25 years, 20 years, unfortunately, you won't.
And that would impact the people that have already retired that are living off of that pension, right? Or do they? I mean, did those people
they're going belly up? So yeah, they're going belly. It doesn't matter. So they're all losing. The people coming losing, and the people that there is no money secured. So it's not like, hey, you can't get yours because we have to keep paying the people. It's like we're facing bankruptcy. So we just want to let y'all know, ain't nobody about to get shit.
That's crazy.
And it sucks.
It's like I can only say that's crazy because I don't know enough about how pensions and stuff work to really ask like intelligent questions. I just know that like a part of what I get as a result of working, like as I'm leaving this job, and I don't have a pension because it's a public school thing, but there's money in a 403B. I'm going to move that money from my 403B into my personal 401k. And you're telling me, because the 401k is the same thing as a pension, right? Like a retirement savings account.
Your retirement account, yeah.
And so that'll be like, I put my money in Merrill Lynch, and Merrill Lynch closes. That's how I'm losing it. Or is it that, let's say I work for a business, I work for Apple, and Apple goes belly up. But that money that I've been putting into that pension, that retirement account, as an employee of Apple matches 7%, I put in my 7 or whatever. That money is sitting in an account and being managed how I distribute it. Some people just let their money just sit. But right now I got my money in a couple different investment funds.
Yeah.
Is it that those investment funds have gone belly up, or the company?
I'm even wondering, it's the company and their money associated. So what I'm wondering is the same way we have our money. Everybody knows bank accounts. Your money sits there, but the purpose of your money sitting inside of a bank account is that so they can leverage it, to do other stuff, to do other things with it. And I'm wondering if it's just that kind of thing. If it's just, okay, I'm going to show you what should be here in your pension account. When you check it, you're going to be able to see that your percentages are going here. But on the back end, I'm really using your shit. I'm using it.
That's true, right?
And I'm doing whatever with it. And
like, we might have to have a finance person come on, but I remember when banks crashed, that was the whole thing. Like, things start to get wavy, and then there's a call on the bank, right? Everybody like goes to the bank and says, "Give me my motherfucking money." And now, if that were to happen right now, we'd all be fucked up because it ain't nothing but digits in accounts. That's how Zelle and Apple Pay and all that shit can work. And if you were to go and call their bluff and say, the money I got in Navy Federal, the money I got at Bank of America, Chase, Greenwood, Citizens Trust, give me my shit in cash. They would ask you a question like, why? What's going on? Yeah. And it's like, no, because I want to see my money in front of me.
And you couldn't get it in cash. Depending on how much you're asking for, it's going to take us a couple of days. We need to submit and process your money. And it's like, if I walked in there right now, if I walked in Navy Federal and said, give me $40,000 of my money and I want it out now, they would say, we can give you 10. And then if you would, can you just give us?
And they're going to have management call you and be like, no, why?
Yes. Why? Yeah, we wanted to just know, we wanted to speak with you and just say, is something going on? And they're going to want to know why. And that's large scale. That's small money. You know what I mean?
Right.
Period. That's just small money. So if I'm fucking Mark Cuban, and which ended up happening, they made those calls to the government. Remember they had that impromptu fucking meeting in the middle of the day, they had a Zoom meeting, a government fucking Zoom meeting when those banks was going belly up. Government Zoom meeting. Now I followed a guy that was like a part of the Congress, and he was like, I'm going to be transparent with you guys. This is what happened. They just text our phones and said we're having an emergency Zoom meeting, and he was like, we have to be on it, and they're going to pretty much go through. That's why the banks. You remember they were like, what's the big banks in Cali?
Fannie Mae, Sally,
all of them, yeah.
Sallie Mae, Fannie Mae.
All of them are going they're belly up and blah blah blah, and the big people, Mark Cubans or whatever, were like, yeah, we taking our fucking money out, and they were like, please no. And imagine that though. Shout out to that. Imagine having that kind of money to where the fucking federal government calls a meeting and be like, okay, everybody settle down, we're gonna figure it out.
Right.
And who knows how figured out just means we cover it up. And again, these people are just looking at numbers. I can go on my account every day and say, okay, so what I got in my pension is about that time, 30 years. And they say, hey, sorry, I know it looks like you got this in your pension, but it's not there. We lost that money years ago in a bad investment. And we're going bankrupt, and your pension is inside of our bankrupt filing.
Which is why people keep their money in a mattress.
This is why your grandmama keep that fucking money in the mattress, in her titties, in that Coca-Cola tall, long jar.
That's why Uncle Pete had his money in the TV.
In the back of that fucking TV.
Okay.
Period.
Wow. Well.
And every now and again, your grandmama go, she take about 100 ones, take them to the bank, change that for $100 bill, slide it back in the back of the TV, make some space.
Make some space. What you doing with that little hand over there? Make some space. Spell sassy with it. Well, thank you for that. That's
this
certainly
looks like Tang, don't it? Anybody know what Tang is?
That shit is so nasty. Tang is that along with
Sunny
D. Delight.
I knew it was Sunny D.
Ugh. Anyway, all right. So it's time for us to get into our next segment, which is people just be saying shit. People just be saying shit.
I'll go first this time.
Please do. Go for it.
People just be saying shit. Mine is, how many times have you heard, and you know what, and you actually may be one of the people, I don't even know where you stand on this, but how many times have you guys heard, they called and asked for this, blah, 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 they ain't even talk, they ain't even say nothing, they ain't call, I ain't heard from them, and blah, 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 blah. They just call because they know I'm a lawyer. They just call because they know I'm a this. I hate that shit.
You like don't that, like that when people say more. That is
exactly, to me, it's how fucking nepotism works. Nobody has to call you for a week straight to blow smoke up your ass because they need to utilize the resources, that the purpose that you serve. I actually am the exact opposite. Do not fucking small talk me. If you need something from me, call me and tell me exactly what you need so we can get that out the way. You don't have to ask me, what everybody been doing? I just wanted to, it's going to piss me off actually if you spend 30 minutes doing that and then at the end be like, oh, okay, well, I did want to ask you if you was going to do a comedy. Don't do that shit. Don't do that. And I feel like I called this little segment of mine, like utilizing the family resources. Like there are so many, inside of your family lineage, there are so many people that do different things that you don't even know about. And I thought about it, what brought it to my mind is that I recently, and we didn't talk about it here, but the reason we took hiatus is because my grandmother passed. And during that, I have a cousin that is she works and she's like I don't actually know what. She works on the ward that my grandmother, like just pretty much pulmonary. She's not a nurse though, but I think she may even be like a CNA. I'm not really sure. But she works on the ward, and she didn't know anything. She didn't know anything about anything until she saw my grandmother come in the hospital in the last couple of days and was like, how long has she been sick? How come nobody called me? From what I'm hearing in her chart, because, obviously she has access and she can look, this probably could have been prevented with aspirin and a glass of warm water, just earlier on. There's like small things. And she was like, but nobody checked. And you know why? Because people would rather just talk shit, feel like she ain't no nurse and she ain't no doctor and blah, blah, blah. But if you have somebody there with the expertise, subject matter experts are a thing. Like I have a cousin that's an attorney and she's like the best at it. Like, I'm going to call one of the specialists in our family. I'm not going to sit here because I'm an attorney and feel like, pretend like I can talk medical jargon. I can't, but I know somebody who can, and I can sit here and listen for what I know to listen for my subject matter expert. There's no reason for you to fucking sit on the phone talking to Apple or whatever and letting them, or taking your computer to get fixed somewhere and letting them charge you $500 when you have me. Like you have me, call me to see what she say. And there's no reason for me to sit on the phone. Don't just call me when you need your computer fixed. Why? I don't want to talk to you no other time. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't, but call me if you need me. Right. And that's the kind of shit like it annoys me because too many people carry that energy of, I don't want to hear from a motherfucker. It's just like, nah, man, that's how shit gets done. And what ends up happening is that you feel like, well, I talked to a professional and they said, but everything is a business. Medicine is a business. mental health is, that's all a business to a degree. And so you take somebody that's a subject matter expert that has a vested interest in what you're talking about, because if I'm a doctor, I'm not going to tell you no ways to save a 90-something-year-old lady. Ma'am, I'm going to tell you what you need. It's fine. It's not really much we can do. But if I got a vested interest, I can say, well, these laws say that you should be doing this, and you need to take these steps. And you don't know to ask that because you don't fucking work here. Or you do something because you're a construction worker. Right. So you're in here trying to handle these things. You get my point. So I need to beat a dead horse, but it's just like, I think about those things. I'm just like, stop doing that shit. Stop telling people. Now you got other people obviously that will use and abuse that kind of thing. And they only call you when they need some type of shit. And you can draw, like there's a level of discernment that you can have to weed those people out. But like, I promise you, my distant uncles, you can call me for exactly what the fuck you want. I either do it and tell you how to move, and get on about your day. You don't got to call me for a week on Monday, so you can
warm me up
Friday. You don't do this, whatever.
Yeah, and you know what? To me, when that happens, it just lets me know that me and whoever it was in need of something don't share the same values, right? Like you don't see me how I see you, right? Because like there have been multiple times where I'll have a younger cousin that's trying to go to college. And this is what I do for a living. I have worked primarily at colleges and universities my entire career. Yeah. And so when I hear from trickle down the line, so-and-so, they in school here, but they staying off campus. And I'm like, why? Why would they do that? Why would they do that their freshman year? Do you all know that 60-something% of students that stay off campus their freshman year aren't going to make it? They're not going to persist because they're not a part of the environment. Or they'd be like, well, so-and-so wanted to go to school, but they didn't because they couldn't find any money. And it's like, that's what my wife does for a living. Like, you know what I mean? Like the ways in which my wife and I are helping my niece prepare for college is privilege. And she should be privileged because she has us in her life, and she shouldn't have to. Like, she should be. Like, I was able to connect her with somebody who's going to help her get and has helped students get like $500,000, $600,000 in scholarships. And absolutely she should, because she has me in her life and I have my wife in her life. My best friend is a pharmacist. Anytime I got a question about a motherfucking pill, or also sometimes medical issues, without hesitation. But when somebody hesitates to reach out to me, or they call me and they doing that warm me up, butter me up shit, I'm thinking, oh, you don't fuck with me how I fuck with you. Because if you really fuck with me the way I fuck with you, you would know that you don't need to do that with me. I don't like small talk. If I know something, right? So, but I do understand the other side of it. Like if I think about like Cousin Terry from Soul Food. I don't want to be exploited. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to be, used. It should be some type of reciprocity. There should be something that I can give, even if it's just a, thinking of you, a Christmas card. Let me know what's going on with your kids, right?
And I just agree.
I just think it should be balanced. I don't want to be used, but at the same time, we're family, or we're friends, or we're sorors, or we're, we got the same alma mater.
All of it's for the same thing. And I feel like black people put themselves at a disadvantage for that, for that whole, ain't nobody getting up off of me for free. They better, but it's like, white people don't do that shit. You know how many times I've heard, oh, what do you need? I don't know. I think we've got a cousin that does this. It's a distant uncle. I'll give him a call and see. And it's a no-brainer, because that's how the fuck we get. You don't do it. Nobody gets ahead. Nobody makes the millions for the family lineage by being like, I did this for me, for myself. What in the fuck is the purpose? And you know what it makes me think about? And this may be a little derailed a little bit, but like I watched a show, and it had like little boys, young boys in prison. And we always talk, and another thing we always talk about, back referencing this or re-referencing this, and now we always be like, oh, if we were slaves, I do this, or we do this, or that, we could just get away. And I'm like, how many people think that they would be the Harriet Tubman, right? Like, I would get as many people free as I can, but it's like, no, the fuck you won't, because you can do it now. Like, how many people, like, y'all see, oh wow, look like this person got this many people out of prison. There are so many fucking people in jail that shouldn't be there. And if you have the capacity, Like my cousin does that. Like she takes so many to a fault. Actually, she takes so many free cases because she's a criminal defense attorney, and she'll have so much shit come across her desk that she could definitely overlook. But she'll look at it and be like, "Yo, you've been fucking locked up this long over a $50 parking ticket."
Right.
And go to court for that person. The person's like, I can't afford you. Obviously, I can't afford a good lawyer. You've been stuck in the public defender system. Don't worry about it. We're going to go to court. And not only am I going to fucking fight your case like it's a goddamn murder case, I'm going to make an example out of the court so that the next 16 people that come up here, they feel like shit about. Like, you're wasting my fucking tax dollars keeping this person in jail for $50.
Right. Right.
Right. And so it's like in any capacity that you work, like, it's just wild to have your family feeling like, and like you said, it's
out.
They can't reach out or feeling that way because you don't maintain. Like that's how network inside your own family. Send cards. Send I'm thinking about yous because you just never know when you need somebody. Yeah. Like I'm a pleasant person by nature or whatever, but it isn't like I'm just not a nasty motherfucker. You know what I mean? So it's just like reach out. How you doing? Thinking about you. Like it takes nothing to text somebody. Yeah. You don't even gotta call. Everybody ain't got the time. Shoot a text. Shoot something and then offer some resources in return. If you know you the motherfucker in your family that always need $50 all the fucking time, you better figure out a way to make somebody feel like you worth it. Hey, let me come over there. I don't know, guy. Come clean the house up for you. Let me be the person that cut your grass. Stop fucking calling people asking for $50 without giving them shit in return. Show up.
Right.
Like,
and it don't have to be in the same ways that I'm showing up for you.
It don't have to.
It's really and I'm gonna make this point, then we can move forward. But it's really a ideology which is tied to, I feel, anti-blackness, and following me here, because America is really prides itself. American values, one of the core values of being an American is rugged individualization. I can do what I want to do, and I'm going to do it by myself.
It looks better when I do.
Right. If I do it if I get it up out the mud by myself, if I pull myself up by my bootstraps, then I get more praise. But it's like, y'all know that's antithetical to who we are as a people. Like we're more communal, right? And it's like the more that you move away from community, the more you start to lean into some very isolating, again, individualistic ways of thinking. And my wife has to constantly remind me of this. Now, the reason I do things by myself is trauma. I ain't had people to do shit for me. But it's like my wife constantly gives me that phrase of, if you, and I still can't remember it, if you want to go fast, go alone. Yeah. If you want to go far,
go together.
Go with others or whatever. Go together. Right? And so it's like really, like even the name, like I said, I started my own consulting. I named it the Griot Collective. Right? It's just me right now. But I like in terms of actually doing it, but I have relied on my line sister who is an attorney. Right? What'd you say?
Manifestation.
That's it.
I look at that.
But like even in like ideating and thinking about my pricing structure and thinking about who I can rely on, I'm reaching out to people, and it does feel uncomfortable because some people be like, she ought to hit me up when she needs something. And it's like, all right, shut the fuck up. I won't go back to you. But anyway, and so it's an ideology associated with that.
And I like what I like how you put that like if somebody feels like that, it truly does show me that you just don't fuck with me the way I fuck with you. Like I'm not that way at all. I truly don't give a fuck. I ain't gonna hold you. The only time, and I can't even think then, if I'm being perfectly honest, just because I have a respect for Black people in general and just the way that it has to work and the way the oil, the way the machine has to be oiled, I cannot like you anymore. Like we can just, maybe we used to be friends if we're not, but if there's a resource that you may need, depending on what it is, depending on, I ain't gonna go too far and say I'm that green. Girl, fuck you. You should have thought you had a friend, bitch. But depending on what it is, yeah. Like, yeah, I don't, we're not on that. You ain't my friend, but if you need something, reach out. Whatever, I get it to you, I email it to you, because it's that much of nothingness to just push somebody else forward. Like, imagine that dumb shit. If 5 of us are trying to do the same thing, but I'm not going to help you because I got to get out of the mud. You got to get out of the mud too. Now we all getting out of the mud. Right. We could have been fucking 10 steps further if just one person got out of the mud.
And doesn't that speak to where we are as a people, right? God, we could be so much further if we just supported each other.
Why y'all want to be so muddy?
Name of the episode.
Why you want to be so muddy?
Yeah.
Y'all so pressed to be in the mud. Anyway.
Okay.
All right.
So,
what's your people just be saying shit?
I have tried to find ways to articulate this, and so I had to write down my notes. So here we go.
Let's go.
The other day, I saw a video by comedian Jess Hilarious, and she had stitched a video with somebody else. And so the person who she had stitched the video with, and if you don't know what a stitch is, it's just two videos being combined. But the person's name is Blessing Rose. Blessing Rose is a trans woman. And on TikTok back in March, Blessing Rose said that cis women don't own periods, and to act like we do is gatekeeping, right? So again, that video is from March. And then Jess made the video in response that basically said, like, who's going to defend us? Like, where are cis women's rights and things like that? And I really got agitated. And this is why. So it's like, the truth is that cis women, in regard, and this is one of the things where somebody could take a little snippet of what I'm about to say and create a narrative. So I'm going to try to really piece this together. But as it relates to trans women and cis women are the privileged group there and do not need protecting in the way that trans women do in that regard, right? Like, and so asking the question of who's going to defend us is asinine when you're the privileged group. It's like, I listened to another podcast with men talking, and they're like, when are we gonna, women are really flipping this shit, and women are saying men ain't shit and niggas ain't shit and da 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 da. Who's gonna stand up for men's rights? And it's like, do you realize how dumb you sound when all of the systems that we have in place are meant for you? And we had to have amendments to those laws to include us. So, but I want to be clear that, like, when we're talking about this, cis women, as it relates to trans women, are the more privileged group. There's legislation being signed into law that attempts to control what women can do with their bodies, but there's legislation being signed into law that wants to eradicate the existence of trans women. But this conversation is not an attempt to sort of really get into, like, who has it worse, the oppression Olympics, right? Because we can go toe to toe there. My point here is that I really need people to stop making a mountain out of a molehill of an opinion, right? The idea is that Blessing Rose is saying that, and Blessing Rose does not speak for all trans women. All trans women do not feel like, oh, cis women think they're the shit because they can give birth and because they have periods and da 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 da. Like, that's some bullshit. All trans women don't feel that way, right? None of the trans women that I know and have interacted with in my life feel that way. None of the scholars, activists, people on the forefront of trying to just create humanity for trans folks, particularly trans women, follow those beliefs. So for Jess to go on her platform and make a big argument and a stance and get people who have no understanding of this topic all riled up and creating this narrative as if all trans people feel that way is problematic, right? So it's like, but I get it, because this is what happens when you have no meaningful social contact with a certain identity group. Because of course, then you would see Flame Monroe on the Breakfast Club saying, don't ask me my pronouns, I go by he. And you see them presenting as a woman and you're like, well, wait a minute. And if that's your only example, it can be confusing. And that's why it is imperative for us to move the needle in any arena, whether it be gender, sex, race, ability. You have to have meaningful social contact with people that are a part of this group, so you can say, okay, I hear this one dissenting opinion, but because I'm exposed to other ways of thinking, I'm not going to create my whole opposition, my whole stance based on one point that somebody is making that no one else really agrees with, right? That's not the master narrative around trans women trying to oppress and invalidate cisgender women. And I see people in the comments like, don't call me cis, that's a slur. No, the fuck it's not. Right? Cis is a label. If you don't want it assigned to you, right? If you don't want it assigned to you, then fine, you don't have to use it. If you don't want to qualify the type of woman that you are, whether you're trans or cis, then don't require anyone else to do it. If you don't feel comfortable with the specificity of being labeled as a cis woman, then don't ask another woman who so happens to be trans to give you specificity. right? So if you don't want to use it, let everybody be women. But the point is, when you start to create a whole argument based on one point of disinformation, right? That's called equivocation, right? Where you're using what, like the definition of equivocation is a key word used in two or more senses in the same argument. And the apparent success of that argument depends on shifting the meaning. So what are the two words here? Woman and cis, right? So Blessing Rose is like, you don't own womanhood, and womanhood is this and this and this. But the point is that there is a difference. And if we all understood the difference between biological sex and gender, we would be so much better off. One does not eradicate the other. Females can have periods. Not all females have periods, because if you're postmenopausal, you may not have a period, but you're still a female, right? Now, the experience of womanhood is subjective. It doesn't mean, though, that womanhood is everything, because as I have said on this show before, that if there is no one unifying strand of what it means to be a woman, and being a woman could be this, and it could be that, and it could be anything, and it could be everything, then that would mean that it's nothing, right? So there has to be one unifying strand about what makes us a woman, and that may not be relegated to whether we have a period or not. But the idea is to think again.
I think the period thing was a wild ass bottom line, I guess, of
it's crazy. Like, we could talk about femininity. Or what
makes you a woman.
Yeah,
I don't even think it's that.
Video.
If you wanted to relegate it to, I don't see how having a period became the hard core determining factor over either having a vagina. Even like how did that be like? Yeah, well, if you got a period, it's just like, what does that have to do with anything? There are women who never get one, women who whatever. But
exactly. And that's the point. It's like people using these false points to create this master narrative that doesn't really exist. And this is just to wrap this up. For so many people, and I have said this before, I don't know who do y'all believe, but for so many people, they would rather ignore what scholars and experts have to say on the topic, because the information is there, and you would rather base your whole knowledge base and your whole oppositional stance based on one thing that one person said that makes no fucking sense.
So that's actually my 2 cents on it. I have feelings, but it is quite literally like the premise and basis of this show. I feel like this whole argument on both sides is based largely on feelings, as opposed to what's fact. Like, there are hard facts to be considered, and there's a lot of I feel, and it's just like, it's wild. It's so funny because that was my if it ain't one thing, it's another. This whole conversation, because T.S. Madison got drug into it, which is another person who I hate. You mentioned it, but I hate generalizing in any capacity. Like, it sends me. I hate for somebody. I sometimes struggle, even though, like, I subscribe to it sometimes, but I struggle with the horoscope thing because it's based in like generalizing. And there are so many caveats that, like that whole wrapping up something. Oh, I got a bad attitude because I'm a Gemini. I got a bad attitude because I'm a Cancer. Just like, that shit has nothing. It evades so much accountability for stuff. So, I do think it's that. And
what did T.S. Madison say?
She had made they got into it. Her and Jess got into it directly because T.S. Madison made a comment on Jess's comments, because Jess has a story that she tells that we can speculate who it's about, but let's just say Dwight Howard, because he just came out with some fishiness here in the media. But she has a story.
Was in her DMs, and then thought she was trans. Yeah.
Right. And so T.S. Madison reposted like her little story time thing, or her her verbiage that she used from there. And she was just like, yeah, there are so many. And she put, quote, in quotes, real women who, and I think she just may have been like, throwing a little shade at Jess's verbiage, you know what I mean? And her like word choice. She was like, there are so many real women, quote, who get mistaken for trans women. And I think T.S. Madison was actually making that point or whatever, but just kind of throwing a little shade to like, girl, like I see the verbiage you're using kind of. But and just kind of like flew off the handle and was like, yeah, I said what I said, you know. And I think that it was like they have like seemed like an underlying beef, like an underlying bit of like animosity to where it blew up, and she was like, yeah, I know you not talking and blah blah blah, like don't you ever put your name, like, you know. They came out, T.S. Madison was like, look bitch, however woman you want to classify me, I can bring whatever I am to the door, to your front door, type shit. And it was just like a going back and forth, and that's when Jess went on that rant on live of like, yeah, real women is this, and who's going to defend us, and blah blah, you know, that whole thing. And you know, and causing that spiral or the split. And T.S. Madison was like, I hate the bullshit of pitting, you know, cis women's against trans women, because it's not that. It's not that. Nobody thinks that. T.S. Madison was like, I'm aware that I am a trans woman. I'm not a person that subscribes to and I'm not either, to be perfectly honest. I don't like it. I don't like because I think there's nothing wrong with it. Like, I think there's nothing wrong with being like, I'm a trans woman, and I don't subscribe necessarily to the eradication of, let's just erase it all and let's just say that we're all the same and we're all one, because it's just like, okay. But the space to be in and exist in, you need it in the platform to fight for it, for sure. And that's kind of where T.S. Madison was at, was like, yeah, bitch, I don't understand, because she went back on whoever the first person you said and was like, yeah, can't agree with the period. Yeah, she was like, yeah, Blessing Rose, I can't agree with the period thing, because again, trans women do not, you know, have periods and don't, even if there are caveats of whatever kind that create exceptions to the rules. We all know that women that are biological women, blah, 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 do exist, are cis women. But see, I'm not trying to eradicate women, but she was just like, yeah, but that bitch has a slick mouth and she's low-key transphobic. That's kind of how she was kicking it.
Well, and that's the thing, right? So, you know, we differ on the point, because you don't like the idea of all women being lumped into one category. But I think when we start to create those delineations, it spirals to this, right? And this is the same stuff that the lady who wrote Harry Potter, right, was doing. It's what they call TERFs, trans exclusionist radical feminists, right? So this hard line of, I'm a real woman and you're some other amalgamation of something. And it's like, okay. And I just always wonder, why do people need to create to me, this hierarchy?
It's the same. It's not even a hierarchy. To me, it's this, it runs along the same belief of, you know, because you're thinking it's rainbows and butterflies, and you're thinking you're taking the higher road by being like, I don't see color. We're all just people. And it's like, no, the fuck, we're not.
Yeah.
Acknowledge my blackness. My blackness is not the same as your whiteness. It's not the same as your Mexican. It's all of that. Like, there is a reason we are different, and we are unique in that way for our own reasons. And so, like, it's that same thing. And I feel like, you know, it's that gaslighting of a push of, you know, when those people, it's just like, when I say, we all see color, matter. I'm just in love. And it's like, we all are. I don't see color. I don't see you as a black person. When that is actually the disrespect. Telling me that you don't see me or don't see my color. I don't see color. I think me and you are the same. No, the fuck we not.
Right.
And so to me, that's kind of where it lives. And it's like, it has to be acknowledged though, not like disrespect thing or a looking down the nose, like, hell no. Like, I'm going to fight for you to exist and whatever. But you need to have a space to exist in your space. You know what I mean? Like, so there's a culture for you, and there's a like a way that you need to be celebrated. You know what I mean? And it's just like, to live in that and to be like, no, I'm the exact same as her, and we are the same. It's like, no, the fuck you're not. No, you're not.
Right. And so I hear that point, right? I think it's a slippery slope. I think obviously that point that you gave is important, right? Like, we are not the same, and I need you to see me and see my unique differences.
Yes.
But it becomes a slippery slope from that to hierarchy.
I can see that.
I'm better than, right? So I think I'm on the side with you where, okay, boom, we're both valid. We're different in ways. Your experience as a woman is not the same as my experience as a woman. But I'm not going to engage in discourse or vote for legislation that attempts to dehumanize you or eradicate you, right? But it's like, I hear that. And so I just think, again, hearing what, like, there was somebody sent me an article, and I was like, this, and it's really what planted the seed. And it was an article that had come out, and I'm going to try to read it, find it really quickly, but it was an article that came out, and it said, and it was from some conservative news publication, and it said something about like trans folks are asking for the vagina, the hole in the vagina, to be called like a third butthole or something. And it's like, that's not happening. That's not happening. In Hoover, Alabama, there was a whole movement of people saying we shouldn't accept trans kids because you know what? There are some kids who are saying, if we can let kids identify anyway, then there are some kids who are at these schools in Hoover that are identifying as cats. And they when they get to the cafeteria, they only want to drink out of a bowl. They won't drink out of the carton or a cup because they're cats. And so if we let people who are born as males identify as women, then we have to then let these kids who were born as humans identify as felines? And then that's why we shouldn't let this happen. It's like, that is, again, equivocation. It's a red herring. It's a fallacy that convinces you that, or convinces someone that's ill-informed that something is happening that is not a concern at all. It was the same thing with letting people, letting people that are trans or masculine presenting use the bathroom, right? It's like, oh, if you let them in the bathroom, they're gonna get your kids. And it's like, I'm coming in here to shit and piss. Like, I'm not looking at your kids.
And it's so funny. And it also, like, what do you think? It was so telling of, the men making these laws. And I have 2 points here of like, what the fuck do y'all think happens in the women's bathroom?
What do y'all think is going on in there?
What do y'all think is going on in there? It's like, you let them in, then they're going to see all of you standing there naked. Like, I know that's what y'all are doing.
What?
But to that point, to Jess's point of and other women that share the same value, because you made the point about the 3 buttholes. So the whole uprising of who's going to protect women, that sometimes I think there's a slippery slope on both sides. Trans people exist and have a community that they need to be uplifted and seen and heard and fought for, and their presence be acknowledged and accepted, and, like you said, not dehumanized. But there's a slippery slope of men playing the game for it, right? Mm-hmm. So, but again, because women in general, like you said, the oppression Olympics have always been marginalized. And I think, which obviously doesn't need to happen, but the ignorance behind, again, not listening to the scholars on the topic of, let's not call them vaginas. Like, let's not call it that, because now we're going to offend. And it's just like, that's not a thing. You know what I mean? Like, let's call it a third butthole. And it's like, it's not fucking that. Like, these are body parts. Like, I'm not going to call my fucking second arm an arm just because there are people that exist that don't have one. You know what I mean? Or born without one. So it's like, no, let's not call them 2 arms. I'm going to call an arm and a bonus arm. Because if you have one, that's okay. And so it's just like, the slippery slope can go both ways. And we've also been seeing, and it could be like fear-mongering politics and media of people that now identify as trans and they're not. You know what I mean? They go into the women's bathrooms, they're perverts, or they're looking, or they're forced themselves into these spaces where women are, and they're taking advantage of it, because now there's just like this, no, I can be whatever I want to say. And it's easy. It's too easy to be like, yeah, I identify as this now, and give me all the fucking perks.
Exactly.
Doesn't matter if I do or not. And so like there's that. So.
Yeah. So I just wanted to say that, we're going to move forward on this topic so that we can keep the show going. But yeah, people just be saying shit. And like you reminded us, it's important to recognize that in the midst of y'all just saying shit, there are facts and there are feelings. And it's important that you not launch a whole set of feelings based on false facts.
Yep.
Or
the lack thereof, just facts non-existent. These are all feelings, and I get it. So next we are, if it ain't one thing, it's another. That was actually mine. So what's yours?
Carly Russell.
Oh, damn. How you think I forgot?
It is just the news that just came out today, a few hours ago, that her attorneys, they were supposed to meet with the detectives today. Her attorneys came, and instead of Carly coming to that meeting, her attorney sent a letter on her behalf that said that she in fact admitted that it was all a hoax. And some based on what we heard last week about her going to Target and picking up snacks and, then Googling, how old do you have to be for an Amber Alert? And
you got to pay for it.
And do you have to pay for it? And then how to steal money at the register and all this other stuff. And it's like, for me, aren't we going through enough? Just to get into the facts. In 2022, Black women and girls accounted for 18% of all of the missing person cases in the United States, despite us making up only 7% of the population. At any given time, there are tens of thousands of Americans categorized as missing by law enforcement. However, only a fraction of those individuals receive news coverage, leading to some commentators to hypothesize that the missing persons with certain characteristics are the ones that garner media attention, which are white women. It is called, that whole phenomenon is called, let me find it, hold on one second. Here it is, the missing white woman syndrome. If y'all got Apple TV, the third season of the show, Truth Be Told, was all about this, how Black girls can go missing, and it takes so much to get national news coverage. So much. Proof. And even when there is national coverage that is garnered, it doesn't last nearly as long as it would for a white woman or a white girl. And Carly, I don't know. I'm never going to feel bad for believing Black women. I'm never going to feel bad for believing Black women. But I do want Carly to get some fucking help, because why? Why did you do this? Why did you do this? It's so fucking don't we have enough to fucking deal with? There are people right now hoping their big sister who went missing 15 years ago comes home. There are people with entire TikTok pages dedicated to, this is what this person would look like now. Have you seen this person? Entire droves of Black women, girls that are just missing, and their families and friends can't pay anybody to give a fuck. And you doing this bullshit again? I lived in Birmingham. I know where this girl said she saw that baby. And I'm thinking, how in all of the fucks would that be possible? The Target is not far from where she said she saw that baby. Hotels are not far from where she saw that baby. But it is also a very thick wooded area in the evening that she was stopped. You see, it's a lot of traffic in that area.
A lot of cabinets.
Sis, what was going on?
So, a couple things here. I feel different ways. I feel like everything that you just said, she's proof of it. Mm-hmm. When she was missing, though it was a hoax, but when she was missing, she didn't have no news coverage. It was all social media coverage. It was social media pushing, find her. Her ass went on CNN. She went on none of that.
Right.
And it's not until she needs to be making an example of that now she's national news. And that shit is proof. And I hate that. Because again, there's two sides to look at this shit from, because why is she news now? This country will go to a wild extent to make an example of Black people, Black women in general. And for that reason, I also feel like certainly she's got to pay some consequences, but I just feel like not too much on her consequences. Like, there are fucking white women galore who cry wolf. I've been raped. I've been hurt. I've been beat. There's so many fucking Black men in the dirt right now as a result of that. And nothing fucking happens to them.
Right.
Nothing. Not to say that it's just like, oh, well, that she's not wrong, but keep the punishment the same, with the same energy. She needs help. I feel like how many times you and I both are in the age outside of, we can function outside of social media. She's in a generation that is pretty much, if I'm not mistaken, she's like 20 something, ain't it?
Mm-hmm. I think like 25.
Yeah, like maybe 25. And so I can't tell you how much dumb shit I've done over a nigga. Relationship in general, wilding out behind the bitch. It just, not to that extent. I've not done that. So let me not put that out of there. But like, rolling with some homegirls, the egg and nigga car, like shit that if you got caught for, it would be like, well, why did you do this? Like, who are you? Why did you do this? Like, if I actually got arrested for egging one of my homegirl nigga car because he done came up to the movies with another bitch and she done called crying and we just like, girl, fuck that. And it's just like, instead of it just being like, girl, just leave him. Like, it all sounds good.
Right.
And he's also, did you see the gentleman?
Yeah, I think I see him like asking people to not bully her on social media. You talking about what he looked like though?
Mm-hmm.
Nah, what he look like?
Put a picture up here.
Let's see.
Yeah, all right. But
Oh yeah,
not,
he's handsome.
yeah, he's a handsome fella. And if that was her nigga and the shit went south and he wilding out, it'll make you get that way. And I don't know what that kind of meat that man delivering. All I'm saying is I think that it was something that was small that got too big for her. How many Amber Alerts have you ignored? Like, quite literally. Like, them shits go off and I don't even look at them no more. Like, it's even been statistics that show, and I think we covered that on the show, that a large percent of Amber Alerts are internal disputes. Like, a daddy came and picked up their own child, or a mama left for her own child and somebody called an Amber Alert. In her mind, maybe she was like, nigga wanna blah, blah, blah. What he gonna do if I'm dead? I bet he'll be sad then.
So, okay, right? So, okay. The craziest thing I could think, little antics I used to play.
Mm-hmm.
I'm dating this. Let me tell you something. I don't know if a woman has ever driven me crazy like this, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the times where, and maybe it's because when I was dating men, I was younger, so it's immaturity. But let's say the Negro not answering my phone calls, or he knows that I'm traveling by the road, like I'm going somewhere in the car, and you should be calling to check on me, and you have not called.
And you have not.
So what I might do is turn my cell phone off, or block your calls, or just not answer your calls.
Yeah, now you're calling around to see about me. Because what if I got in a wreck?
Then it's the next day, and I'm gonna give it some time. And then I'm be like, hello. And then he'd be like, what the fuck going on? And I was like, oh, but you didn't try to call until after 13 hours. I was already gone.
I don't know.
But what I did not do is call my sister and say, there's a baby. And then I get out my car on the side of the road. For a minute, I thought maybe she just didn't want to pay the car note because she had a red Mercedes, and maybe she just wanted that shit to get stolen. But it's like, I didn't scream. I didn't Google how to be taken. I didn't
She
Google.
goes far. Well, she needs a different kind of help than you needed. You had regular.
I had attention issues. I had, my nigga ain't acting right. She needs help.
Listen, at this age, at this big age, I've only recently, when I say only recently, I'm talking about within the past 4 years, acknowledged and processed through with my therapist my attachment style issues. Y'all probably, it's people listening to me right now that don't know what she talking about when she say attachment style.
Hey,
figure
talk
your
to somebody.
Shit out. Talk to somebody and figure your shit out. It might be a whole root of why you feeling how you feeling, acting how you acting. I've only recently addressed mine. Mm-hmm. Granted, they hadn't been triggered so bad before, but I was led to address them because somebody had me fucked up out here in these streets. And it was given energy, but it wasn't given, I'm gonna run away, I need the attention energy. It was given, I might have to fuck you up.
Right. Yeah. It just depends.
It just depends, and you don't know. And so again, imagine she's done what you did, and nigga ain't give a fuck. Like, he just like, man, she always on that bullshit. I ain't calling her phone. And now you a day and a half in waiting by your phone, like, he gonna call because I could have been in an accident. And he don't. And not only does he not call, he pop out with another bitch. And you just like, oh God, that's crazy. Now
I'm crazy. Now I'm taking a trip to Crazy Land.
Yeah, because I gotta take a trip to Crazy Land, because now everybody know the stages of a breakup. Did he not know who I am, bitch? I'm Big Cardi. And it's like, nigga, he don't even know my value. I know my value, but I'm just trying to get him to see it. And he's not seeing it because he don't give a fuck, because, girl, I'm sick of your antics.
But then you drive on a busy highway. You say you see a baby. You call 911. You call your sister.
It's far. It's too much. I'm not saying
but
it's
before
not
that,
too much.
You went and picked up your snacks. Some nail
you got
polish.
your snacks. You got an extra wig that you could drop off, because I'm about to set this scene, because I'm just calling his sister. Because I'm calling his sister on the phone. I'm going to scare her a little bit. She going to call him directly. That's the first person she going to call. And when that happened, he going to be looking for me. I didn't call my mama and say I swerved off the road. I didn't call my homegirl, my best friend. I'd call his sister, because I know if his sister thinks something happened to me, because we still cool, because why were they even talking? So we
Right.
still cool like
They
that.
cool, yeah.
Why they even talking? We still cool. And she just, girl, you know my brother, I tell you, stop fooling with his ass. And it's just like, that's fine, girl. She ain't even interested in what they talking about at this time. She doing her little bullshit, set a wig on the floor, stage that book. Because, girl, what the fuck happened with the wig? You saving
What
the baby.
is happening?
The baby was never on these traffic cams. You had to have known that. But that's what happens.
So she
when-
probably left her phone in the car because they share locations.
They
Like
share
I'm just
location.
thinking, where do you think she went for real? Like me and my line sister were talking about this earlier, and somebody said she was probably at her line sister house, and then they was like she didn't
Yeah.
do. They kept saying like she didn't do this by herself, and I kept saying, why couldn't she have done it by herself? Like y'all don't think like we don't know what she looked like when she got back home. What if she was just in the woods eating snacks, and then my
She
line
could've.
sister had to give me the hard facts, and she said, this girl didn't go through this by herself. She said she did not go through the woods at night. Have y'all ever seen an AKA wander through the woods? And then I had to think to myself, if she said running through the woods at night, I'm thinking I ain't never seen an AKA in the woods, period.
Child, I just don't know. I'll tell you what I haven't seen.
I ain't never seen an AKA go hiking or nothing. No shit
I ain't
like
never
that.
seen a Delta pull no bullshit like this. That's all I can know.
What Speaking of Delta,
Hey, nice. That's nice. Did they come in a box?
came in a box a long time ago. Shout out to Soror Chief Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson.
That's
Also,
nice.
Deborah Lee, also Rashida Jones, and them other lovely. But
Shout
let
out.
me just say something. I
Yeah.
know that was a hard pivot in week, Carly. I don't know.
That's
I ain't
all
got
right.
the answers. But back to Ketanji and Delta Sigma Theta and our new honorary members.
yeah.
Because it made my heart smile
Mm-hmm.
that Kamala did the keynote at our convention. Because, really, my best friend is an AKA. When if you didn't go to college, if you don't know nothing about, this stuff, like,
It's a gang, like you think it is.
okay, but it's really not that deep. And so Kamala being
not.
there kind of warmed my heart. But,
It
Kamala
warmed mine.
gonna be vice president for 4 years, maybe another 4, maybe. If she were to run for president, she could still only do that for 8 years. Ketanji gonna be Soror Ketanji Brown Jackson gonna be in this position for life.
Yeah. Yeah.
For life.
That's it for lifers.
Okay? And we got her.
Yeah.
We got her.
Yeah.
It just
And it
feels
came off the
good.
cusp. And just to pivot back, shout out to, first of all, I try not to, because I want y'all to know that everybody views it differently. And, it's definitely love. Some of my greatest, bestest friends are AKAs. We get it. And I love them. But it's a gang. And I carry it like one. You hear me? If you see me stacking it up, it's a gang. Gang. I die by it. I die by my color. The issue here is that and shout out to the K's. They just, did you see they dropped that that bank? They got their own bank. They credit you.
Well, isn't that wonderful? If
Isn't that
AKAs ain't
wonderful?
never
Don't
been
look it.
concerned
Look
about
it.
nothing, it's been money.
It's been see how quickly. Remember, she was just kumbaya a minute ago. I was so happy to see.
If
Now she's going to
AKA's
shade.
gonna do anything, it's
Yes,
gonna
you
be
wanna be-
collect money. They gonna do a fundraiser,
All I said was, and I don't know.
AKA
All I
membership
said was,
intake. But
In 5 years, I wouldn't be surprised if it was an embezzlement scandal. But either way, I feel like they had came out. They dropped that information. They dropped that, and it was a short-lived moment because that shit
they ain't
right
have
behind.
it. They ain't have it for long.
They didn't have it, and I was mad. I was like, "Damn, that was a flex." I was happy for him. I was like, "Okay, that was a nasty flex." I'm in here googling, bitch. Delta need to come up with a coin, bitch. It's the uwu coin or what?
Yeah.
We need something. And right off the cusp of that, just news flash, breaking news. Carla Russell, calling me. Oh Lord, Carly B. What's going on? And her chapter tried to take her intake picture down. They caught it.
Hey, that's nasty.
Don't you try to take her down. She a part of this. Stand beside her. They'll throw you to the wolves.
Embrace her.
Embrace her. Love on her. Yes or no.
I don't know nothing
They
about
tried to
y'all
kick her out.
organization, but I know one of our programmatic thrusts involves mental health. And
Yes.
again, I'm not gonna just say
I
that
don't
she
think they
needs
got no
therapy.
thrust.
Well, shit. I ain't gonna say she need therapy because I don't like how people vilify people with that. Like, oh, you need to go to therapy. Everybody
At
need
all.
to go to fucking therapy.
Everybody needs to go. She just
But
she needs mental health assistance.
she needs immediate evaluation and assistance because
Yeah.
what would cause you to do that? And some people said, and I'm not here to bully Carly, but some people said we should have known her decision making was off
Got it.
when she
No, she's right where she needed to be.
pledged her life to.
She's right where she needed to be. They tend to be. I know a couple of them that, they made the decisions, but they just a little unstable. But all I know is I know what it feels like, and I know what it looks like, I should say, rather than to make a decision and it go too far. Mm-hmm. And she's old. She's right at the age where she's old enough to where she could have stopped early and been like, I'm not missing. I don't know these reports. Like, I took some time to myself.
49 hours. 49 hours.
49.
Where
and
was
I thought
she?
that, it's 24 hours. An official missing persons, you can't do it until it's been 24 hours. So you went 49 hours, and where was you at? She was just at that, at the Motel 6.
And I knew something was wrong because her brother had made a TikTok and was like, y'all, my sister is missing.
He was not her brother. He also needs mental health assistance. Do you know that?
The man with the locks?
It was not her brother. He had no relation to him. It's not his family. And he came out and was like, I'm so sorry that I made the video making y'all.
Because he took that TikTok down. Because I had reposted.
That's why he took it down.
And then it was gone.
He's not his family. Talking about, I met my sister in Christ. The world is sick. The world is
okay.
Sick.
Were those her parents on
that's her parents.
on the other one?
Oh, and right here, I'm gonna put it here. Y'all look at the clip. I got to send you the clip. I'm about to send it to you right now. Of the dad, the mom. They in the interview. They asked the mom, "Do you think she fought for her life?" And the mom was like, "Yes, 100%." But the dad was already like, he don't want no parts. He nervous. He was
Here. Do you believe she was fighting for her life?
Oh, she definitely fought for life. There will definitely fought for life. There will definitely fought for life. There will.
You see,
she didn't. He want out. He want out. He want.
You know what it reminded me of? You know what show it reminded me of? Your Honor. Where your kids will get you tied up into some shit because everybody said the dad didn't look too confident about it. The mom was like, the mom tried to say it in so many ways. I was like, did she go to law school? Because she was like, she definitely was fighting for her life in different ways, mentally. She looked like she had been fighting for her life internally. Okay, but I just really wish we knew what she looked like when she went back home.
That's okay. And they say she walked
all the way home, and only got frantic right when she got up there. You got to see this. Let me tell you something else about Hoover, Alabama. They don't have sidewalks. This is not a city. Like, let me do further context, because I was going to get into the big facts, but the show running long. But for further context, Hoover has a school system where they don't even have public school buses. If you want to go to school in Hoover, you got to be dropped off at the school or pay for a charter bus that the school sponsors, because they don't want just any old body in their fucking city. So just like any other city that don't have a lot of sidewalks, they don't want a lot of foot traffic. They only want people that got cars. And so you telling me, Carly, that you walked along a grassy side road. It's not even a bike lane. It's that little thin strip of concrete between the painted lane and the grass, and you walked your ass.
She crazy enough to where I'm willing
in
to
the
bet she did it in
hottest days that
hill.
the earth has ever seen. In the hottest days.
You know, AKA like kitten heels. She did it in the nipple heel. Just dirt, just sinking, making little holes in the dirt and shit. Listen, friend. That's all.
I prayed. I believe black women. Still believe black women.
Believe them.
Because y'all look for every reason. I thought I saw, and I might be wrong, but I thought I saw a black woman say she had won that billions from the Powerball or whatever.
I think that she didn't win the billions.
She won something.
She won something. She won $1 million.
How it came to my attention, I'm in a thread with some Negroes, and I was like, I think she lying. Of course you think she lying because Carly done fucked it up.
She did too.
Damn.
It's just hard to believe, niggas. But.
You see what I'm saying? You see what you doing, Carly? Anyway. What else you got? What else you got going on?
That's all I got. That was our facts. We shared the facts of the day.
We did give a lot of good facts this episode.
We gave great facts.
This episode, I would say, was in like right in alignment with what we want this show to be.
Yeah.
Facts and feelings.
Yeah, I agree. We had a little bit of feelings, a little bit of facts. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all rocking. Fire is taking a big step in life, and so stay tuned. The show finna get busy and busting.
Booyaka, straight.
And I come back in here, yo, Can you mind?
No, I fixed mine.
That's really wild. It's okay. We're gonna be in person, and it's gonna be a whole different energy vibe.
Y'all ain't even ready.
Y'all ain't even ready. Y'all about to love it. If you like it, you about to love it.
Should we do no, not next week, week after. But
yeah.
anyway. No, that's it. Thank y'all for listening. I am Fi Angela. You can follow me on the Instagrams and the Twitters at FIYAANGELOU. You can email the podcast at facts.feelings.pod@gmail.com. Please leave us a review on Apple and Spotify because that's how other people start to follow us. Share with a friend. Watch on YouTube. We also got a TikTok now. Fuck with us on there. Where can they find you? Where you at? Where you be?
I'm on episode 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. If you want to know where I'm at, go watch them and find me. That's how we doing that. Find me there. Watch another episode. Find where you can find me. But really, you can already find me on Instagram and everywhere else I'm at. But
Why did you only name those numbers?
Because that's the Easter. Those are all the episodes before this. So episode 1 through 10. You can find me on all of them.
But you said 4, 6, 5, 8.
I said 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Just
all right. Anyway, thank y'all for listening.
My favorite number is 4, so I started there.
All right. Well, thank y'all for listening, and we out this bitch. Bye.
Yeah.
Fire, this just in. After the episode, these hoes are still lying.
Is this America's new billion-dollar winner? Our cameras were there today when an elated woman appeared at the Los Angeles market where the billion-dollar Powerball ticket was sold, claiming the jackpot is hers. Stunned spectators offer her hugs as reporters try to get answers.
Are you the winner? You're the winner? You are?
The sobbing woman says she came to the store to thank employees, but after seeing all the crews and reporters, she bolts.
Can you show us the ticket?
And drives off in a BMW. Our producer Carly Delano showed the store owner the footage.
I think it's fake.
You don't recognize that woman?
No.
You play too motherfucking much, man.